Modern times may have reduced these ancient fears. But among the Navajo people, the legend of the Skinwalker has never truly disappeared. They believed these mysterious beings could hide among ordinary people during the day and transform into terrifying creatures at night. Navajo parents warned their children to stay alert. Skinwalkers could appear as anyone, watching from a distance before revealing their true form. They were said to run faster than the wind, track their victims with ease, and strike without warning. This chilling account comes from Art Tracy Jr., whose mother passed the story down through generations. It was later published in a collection of Native American stories, describing an event believed to have happened in the 1920s or 1930s. A Navajo ranch hand working near Tuba City, Arizona, asked his wealthy employer for a few days off so he could visit his family in New Mexico. He saddled his horse and began the long journey across deserts, canyons, and mesas. After hours of traveling, he stopped to rest. As he looked across the silent desert, he noticed an old, mangy coyote sitting on a nearby hill, staring directly at him. Believing it was only a wild animal, the ranch hand raised his rifle, carefully aimed, and fired. The coyote collapsed instantly, and he walked toward the hill to inspect what he had killed. Reaching the top of the hill, he froze in terror. The body before him was no ordinary coyote. The upper half was a young Navajo man with long hair and painted skin, while the lower half remained covered in thick coyote fur. Overcome with fear, he looked around the empty canyon. Unsure of what to do, he dragged the strange body toward a deep crevice at the canyon's edge. With all his strength, he pushed the body over the cliff. It disappeared into the darkness below. His heart raced as he realized he may have killed something far beyond human understanding. Terrified, the ranch hand jumped back onto his horse and rode as fast as he could, even after nightfall. Desperate to put as much distance as possible between himself and the place where the terrifying encounter had happened. The terrified ranch hand rode without stopping until he finally crossed the Chuska Mountains and reached his relatives' home near Shiprock, New Mexico. After hearing his story, his family became deeply frightened. "You must never return to your employer," they warned him. "The Skinwalker's relatives will come looking for answers, and they'll be hunting for you." Decades later, another chilling encounter would emerge. This time, the witness wasn't a ranch hand, it was a young U.S. Army soldier stationed in Arizona during the mid-1980s. The story was shared by Stacy C. on behalf of her uncle, Bob, during a Thanksgiving gathering after a few drinks. Bob revealed a terrifying experience from his time serving in the Army around 1985. Bob had been in the Army for about 3 years when he was assigned to a late-night patrol. Along with another soldier, he walked the fence line of a military base in Arizona, carefully watching the dark desert beyond. As both soldiers focused on the area outside the fence, they suddenly heard a noise behind them. Strangely, the sound came from inside the base, the side they believed was secure. Turning around, they were stunned to see an elderly man standing silently nearby. He wore traditional buckskin clothing with long braided hair and stared directly at them without saying a word. Startled, the soldiers immediately raised their weapons and ordered the old man to put his hands in the air. But he didn't respond. He simply stood there, motionless, as if he couldn't hear them or didn't care. Growing more suspicious, one soldier radioed headquarters. As they waited for backup, neither of them could shake the feeling that the mysterious old man was far more dangerous than he appeared. The old man's skin looked unnaturally gray, almost glowing under the moonlight. He stood about 30 feet behind the soldiers inside a highly restricted military zone. Both soldiers drew their weapons, but the old man showed no signs of aggression. They assumed he had wandered onto the base by mistake and calmly ordered him to raise his hands. Bob tried to report the situation over the radio, but all he heard was loud static. As both soldiers looked down for only a moment to adjust the radio, everything changed. When they looked back, the old man had completely vanished. Sitting in the exact same spot was a massive rabbit, silently staring at them. Shocked, the soldiers searched the area for the missing man, but there was no sign of him. Suddenly, the rabbit sprinted toward the military fence. A strange sound came from behind them. Turning around again, they were horrified to see the same old man standing outside the tall security fence. The fence was nearly 10 feet high, with no way for an elderly man to climb or jump over it. Neither soldier could explain how he had crossed to the other side. Terrified, Bob and his partner ran back toward the base without looking back. They agreed never to tell their commander what had happened that night. More than 30 years later, Bob still looked genuinely frightened whenever he told the story. He believed with all his heart that what they encountered that night was a skinwalker. Whether it was a skinwalker, a strange illusion, or something that can never be explained, the mystery remains unsolved. What do you think the soldiers really saw that night? An experience I had while training with my National Guard unit at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. He moved from enlisted to officer via a oath